So in this video, what I thought I would do is, I've had this question quite a lot, and it is, what can I eat for weight loss? Well, there's no magic foods. There is no magic formula. It's not a case of going down to Tesco, buying a load of stuff, making it, and that is your meal, and that is going to help you lose pounds and pounds and pounds and pounds and then into stones. No. It is about careful thinking about what you should and you shouldn't eat. And it's easy. Everybody knows what you shouldn't eat. You should not eat things like McDonald's and KFC if you want to try and lose weight. You should be eating things that you know are healthy and leaving the things alone that are unhealthy. So what I thought of doing in this video is just break it down. Things you can eat for breakfast, lunch and dinner and snacks. And just give you guys some ideas of what it is you might want to have for those meals. So here we go, let's have a look. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day to get right. You get it wrong, you knacker your day up with your diet for the rest of the day, possibly into the next day depending on what you've had. Everybody knows that a greasy fry up, bacon, eggs, sausage, beans, fried bread, everything like that, everybody knows that that's bad for you. Everybody knows that a McDonald's breakfast is bad for you. But, it doesn't taste amazingly bad, to be fair. I do love a fry-up. I do love that kind of thing. Anyway, things to avoid for breakfast is going to be things like fried goods. Things to avoid for breakfast is going to be like child cereals, Frosties, Golden Nuggets, those kinds of sugar puffs, anything like that they've got sugar in the title, so they're obviously going to have quite a lot of sugar in them. And obviously you would have that with milk, that makes it even worse. So avoid child cereals like that. Replace them with oats. Oats are amazing. In fact, I'm going to go and make some oats in about 5 or 10 minutes or so, something like that after this video. Replace them with oats. You have kind of freedom. There's a blank canvas with oats. Mix them with water or almond milk. Substitute the milk out if you are having milk. Maybe go for semi-skimmed or go for half water, half milk. But you can have them with just about anything. Have them with some fresh fruit. A little bit of banana in there, some raisins, sultanas, maybe a little bit of jam. Tiny bit of peanut butter. Be careful of your portion sizes there. But oats are really good, and that's one thing I would definitely recommend. At the moment with my diet, I eat a lot of eggs for breakfast. I have 5 whole eggs. There's nothing wrong with whole eggs at all. Obviously, people want the white out of eggs because it's full of protein and you don't get any fats in just the white. It's all in the yolk. So you could go for that as well, but eggs are also a very good choice. Finally, my personal favourite choice back in the heyday was a smoothie. The problem with a smoothie that I found is that it was very unfulfilling. It was lovely to drink at the time if it was nice and thick. It was cold, so on a winter's day it wasn't great. But at about sort of 11 o'clock, getting towards lunchtime, I was very hungry. As I say, it's just a drink. However, you can do a lot with a smoothie. You can go for strawberry and pineapple, you can go for mango, you can go for banana and something, you can go for mixed fruits, you can go for summer fruits, you can do a lot of things with it. So I would recommend having a smoothie for breakfast. Just be aware that you might get hungry towards lunchtime. That's where your snacks come in, and we'll talk about that in a few moments' time. So lunch is the hardest meal of the day because people are on the go. They are up and about, they are at work, they are at school, they are doing whatever. But normally you're out and about when you want to have lunch. Good things to have for lunches are meat. Think white meat, think chicken, think turkey. Try to avoid pork for reasons that I won't explain in this video, but pork isn't actually great. But white meat, you can have fish, tuna, and salmon and things like that come under the fish category. So think about what you're taking in. Normally people are going to have a sandwich. That's absolutely fine. Have a sandwich. But think about the bread that you're going to have. Are you going to have thick white bread or are you going to have whole grain bread? Everybody knows whole grain is better. Why not switch it up and go for whole grain bread? One step better would be to go for something like whole grain wraps. Now, I was in love with wraps and I overdid them for quite a while in my weight loss, but wraps for me were really good. Again, very versatile. You can put whatever you want in them, things like chicken, beef, and then some salad in there as well. Think about salad as well for a second, because you can have pretty much a massive, and I think you think about a mixing bowl for a cake. You can have a mixing bowl worth of salad and it be barely any calories. Tomato in there, lettuce in there. You can even get some funky lettuces at the shops these days. Carrot, peppers, radish, things like that in there, and then have a little bit of meat on the top. That thing is going to fill you up for so long. It's going to take ages to eat. You're not going to want to finish it, which is a good thing because there's too much there for you to finish. But a salad is a really good way to go, even in the winter, because you can do some really nice things with them. So I'm not saying, right, salad is the only thing you can eat. You do have wraps, you do have salad, and you can go for things like sushi as well. Sushi is amazing. If you don't like sushi, you don't have to have fish sushi. There is also things like chicken and duck and things like that on top of sushi parcels these days. But that's another really good thing to go for. What to avoid is going to be things like crisps, things that are going to be obviously fried. Crisps are deep fried in oil, so maybe avoid those. I would try and stay away personally from white bread. That's either baps, rolls, or baguettes, or just bread as you would have it with a sandwich normally. Only because it's going to make you bloated. It's quite heavy. Obviously, you can work it out through the day. If you're in an active job, that's great. But if you're trying to lose weight, why not start with trying to cut white bread out or something along those lines? But substitute it. If not, there are you can get these thins these days as well, like very thin rolls, or you can get thin bagels. That's one good point. Avoid bagels like the plague. They are very, very bad. Avoid anything that really looks glossy in the shelves in Tesco or Sainsbury's, wherever you're doing your shop. But really just think about things, salads, soups are really good, or broths. Have a look at the fat content in soups, because sometimes if it's a creamy soup, then generally there's going to be some sort of double cream in there. But otherwise, broths are really good. Dinner time is really easy because people have a lot more time in the evening. You can think about things a lot more, and generally you can just do whatever. Things to avoid is pork again, which is really upsetting because pork is sausages, pork is bacon, pork is belly pork, pulled pork, shoulder of pork, whatever it might be. Pork is pretty delicious, if I do say so myself, in my opinion, but it is best to avoid pork. Chicken, turkey, beef, but good cuts of beef. I'm not talking sort of fry steaks or casserole steaks. Go for the sirloin, go for the rump. Rump is a sort of like base bottom level that you want to go to. You want to go with something that doesn't have a lot of fat in it. If you buy a sirloin, it's got a big bit of fat on it, cut it off. Chicken, next to no fat in it. Chicken thighs, nice and delicious. Do have a little bit more fat, but let that slide. Turkey, you can get things like turkey mince, turkey steaks, and again, you've got a whole range of fish as well. And then just think about what you can have with them. That's sort of maybe your main dish to go with. I mean, you can get corn mince, and you can go for that sort of thing. Personally, I'm not a massive fan of corn. I just don't like it. That's no reflection on it as a product. I just don't like it. But you can have a meat, and then you can have your pasta, or you can have that with vegetables, grilled veg, boiled veg, steamed veg, whatever it's going to be. The thing to look out for when you do have your evening meal are things like sauces, because sauces are normally quite high in salt and sugar. So if you're going to go for something like a spag bowl, look at the portion size. A jar is 4 people. If you're making that for 2 people, half the jar is probably ideal. But have a look at the salt content and try to avoid anything that is quite high in salt. Anything that's like barbecue-y is going to have a lot of sugar in it. Myself, I am a bit of a barbecue fiend. I have barbecue sauce with nearly everything. I have sweet chili with nearly everything as well. So that's not great. If you can avoid sauce altogether, that sounds bad because it might be dry, but if you can avoid sauce altogether, or if you need sauce, go for something like maybe a condiment like mustard, Dijon mustard, whole grain mustard, whatever mustard it might be, maybe go for something like that. But really it's about avoiding those sauces. And then for evening meal, I overdid it, but I would have brown rice or sweet potato, one or the other. And I was having about 60 grams or 80 grams of uncooked potato. I think it was 80 grams of uncooked potato, and 200 grams of cooked rice. Which is quite a big portion, so maybe go for maybe 150 grams of cooked rice. But brown rice, swap it out. There's nothing really too bad with white rice, but brown rice is going to be better for you. You can get cook in a bag brown rice. You can get pre-cooked brown rice, which you just stick in the microwave. That's really easy as well. And sweet potato. Delicious. You can do quite a lot of things with it. You can have it as a jack potato, you can mash it, you can cube it and have these little sweet potato chunks. Shout out to Mark Steven, who absolutely loves the sweet potato chunks. You can have wedges and fries and things like that. There's nothing really wrong with white potato either. It's just try and switch it up now and again. You know, don't always have white potato. Try and have sweet potato with it. If you're having pasta, look for brown pasta, look for brown rice pasta, look for whole grain pasta, things like that. Switch that up as well. Again, be careful with pasta sauces. But you can really bulk your meals out by just having a lot more greens and a lot more veg. Peppers, broccoli. You don't have to stick to things like kale. Buzzword is like kale is really super good for you and super greens, and there's super grains out there and quinoa and things like that. No. You know what's good for you. You can do a lot of research on what is good for you. And yes, kale and quinoa, they are good for you. But you don't need to go to the extent that you have to have those every night. Of course, you eat whatever you want. You have whatever dinners you want, whatever lunch you want. But it's just get an idea of what you maybe should cut out or what you maybe should substitute in, I should say. And we come to the final part, which is snacks, which is probably the easiest to get wrong. I snack on nuts and I snack on berries at the moment. I have about 25 grams of nuts. Those are plain nuts, not salted. I have those in the morning, and then in the evening, if I'm not going to the gym, I have about 200 grams of mixed berries, so blueberries, raspberries, and strawberries, and things like that. That said, snacks, if you really do have to have a snack, then yeah, fruit is a really good one. Don't overdo it. If you're going to have fruit, be careful that you don't have too many bananas, maybe. I mean, they sit comfortably with a lot of people, but personally, I think a banana is quite good a day. Stay away from very, very acidic fruits if you're going to eat a lot of them. But fruit is a very good snack. Dried fruits, not so much, but fruits as a whole, very good. Nuts, again, just plain nuts, unsalted. Macadamias are good, almonds are good. Cashews are good. Don't go for peanuts. Try and stay away from peanuts. But any nut you can get in fruit and nut mixes if you want to. Those are good for snacking as well. Now, when I'm saying this, I'm thinking in my head of what I was like before I lost weight, and someone said to me, snack on nuts and fruit. I kind of think, well, no, that's not going to fill me up. But I guarantee, if you get into the habit of going, I'm pretty hungry now, about 11 o'clock. I've got that bag of fruit in my bag. I might as well just tuck into that, have an apple and an orange or something like that. You know, number one, it's delicious, and number two, it will keep you fuller for longer. So in general, snacks. I mean, you can have what was I having? Some sort of yogurt. You can have some sort of like Greek yogurt. If you want a bit of flavour in there, then maybe put the tiniest bit of jam. I'm talking maybe half a teaspoon of jam in there. A little bit of yogurt, mix it around, maybe some protein. Whack some sort of half a scoop of protein powder in with the yogurt as well, and get yourself some Pro-Yo. That's really nice. I did that quite often with sort of chocolate, protein, and natural Greek yogurt as well, and just mix that in. Really nice. If you're a fan of cottage cheese, I'm not, but if you are a fan of cottage cheese, you can go for that as a little sort of evening snack. But generally, you should think of things like your 3 meals: your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner. You should look for portion sizes that A, fulfill your needs so you don't have to snack, and B, aren't over the top. So just take a step back, look at what you're eating, think of what you can substitute out. So as I say, bread for wraps, maybe white rice for brown rice, or maybe just substitute your Frosties out and have something like Weetabix or shredded wheat or something like that, and just really assess what you are eating. I hope this video has given you some sort of quick idea of what you can eat versus what you maybe should cut out, and definitely what you should avoid. If you liked it, click the like button, share it, like it, subscribe it, and follow me on Instagram at DA Greenstead. As I say, I'll be posting up a video a week anyway. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Cheers.